Okay, so what we've done is we've constructed a main above ground pond. The pond's dimensions are 13 feet by 5 feet by 3 feet. We calculated it, and it's roughly around 1,500 gallons of water for the main pond. The fish that will provide the nutrition or the nutrients for the system will reside in here. Okay, so what we got then, down here at the bottom, at the other end of this pipe, is a sump pump. It's pushing water up into what I've constructed, what we call a swirl filter. This is the main, I guess I'll call it the heart and soul of it, because other than providing nutrients, this actually, the purpose of this is to remove particulate matter, and I'll explain how that happens. So, water comes in to the swirl filter. You can see it down there. It's coming in. It got at a 45-degree angle, PVC. It starts a whirlpool effect, a centrifugal effect, so that any particulate matter that comes into the swirl filter will be pushed towards the outside of the swirl filter and then eventually drop to the bottom. These two pipes here, this one here is the exit, this one is the overflow. One's a little bit lower than that one. Okay, so the water that's leaving the swirl filter via that pipe comes out here. So the nutrient-rich water exits the swirl filter via this 2-inch PVC. You can see the media beds here. Off of them, I'm teeing off 1-inch PVC. At the bottom of the lava rock here. Okay. At the bottom of the lava rock here is a manifold that the nutrient-rich water extrudes from, filling up the media bed that has the lava rock. You can see how wet the lava rock is, and that provides the nutrients, and the water, of course, is the delivery mechanism for the plants. The water exits via a drain at this end into another 2-inch PVC that goes all the way down here underneath and into what will be the feeder fish barrel. Okay, so this is what we call the feeder fish barrel. So once the nutrient-rich water filters through the media beds, providing the nutrition for the plants and things of that sort, it enters into the barrel here, okay? And this is nothing more than just a receptacle to hold the water. We're going to screen this off and then eventually stock feeder fish in here that will be able to transplant to the main pond to feed the main fish that are providing the nutrition to the plants. And so it exits back into the pond for recycling. And there you have
it. Alright, so this is my aquaponics system. It is the first one I've ever done. It was fun. It was a challenge. Mostly cutting the barrel in half, getting the barrel to set right in the frame, and getting it all plumbed correctly and getting the pump working correctly. Say the most challenging part has been balancing the outflow with the outflow or the inflow on the ball valve with the outflow from the bell siphon. It's something that you kind of just have to play with depending on the size of your tank, the gallons per minute or hour of your pump, how many head. Head is the distance that the water has to travel up to its outflow point, and the size of your grow bed. I've been playing with it for about a week now, just balancing it out. I finally filled the bed up today with the lava rock, the medium, and everything seems to be working perfectly. It's cycled about 20, 30 times since I finished it this morning, and everything's looking good. Okay, so basically what I did is I took a 55-gallon drum and I cut it in half lengthwise. The approximate dimensions of the drum were 37 high and 23 wide as far as the diameter of the barrel. So each section is approximately 37 long by 11.5 deep. It's very important if you use this type of barrel, when you cut it in half, you make sure that you do not cut through the bung. Okay? Don't cut through that. If you do cut through that, you just ruin the barrel. Make sure you have at least one bung, if there are two, on the bottom of each side of the barrel. You can use this as a secondary drain if you need to. Let's see what else. The frame itself is approximately 26 left to right, the way we're looking at it now, 37 front to back, and 40 high. It's basically just 2x4s. Once I finish transplanting and making sure that everything is working correctly, I will cover the outside with either cedar or redwood or something so it looks nice, and so my wife doesn't yell at me for putting another crappy thing in the backyard. The pump, basically, it's a it's a Lang 3400 1/20th of a horse RPM fluid pump. I got it from work. A lot of people might not have access to something like this for free. You can buy one. Depending on the style you get, these go for anywhere from $120 to $180. You can start off with something as simple as a $30 submersible aquarium pump from Walmart. It's up to you, entirely within your budget. I use all 3/4 inch PVC. Some places I've reduced it to restrict the flow. Where I have, this used to be a carbon bed filter, but I've since changed it out for just a straight cloth and medium filter. All it needs to do is just filter out some of the solids before they enter the actual impeller housing for the pump. As you can see, the water is kind of dirty because I put the new lava rock in this morning. This will filter out in probably about 6 or 7 more hours. It'll be almost crystal clear by the time I get up tomorrow morning. But as you can see, the water here is crystal clear. So it's being filtered, it just has to turn it several times. I would say the most challenging part of this was not just cutting the barrel in half and figuring out how to do that correctly, but if the barrel has been used and reused and used and reused, it's not going to be a perfect cylinder. It's going to be kind of cocked a little bit. So you have to take that into account when you go to put it into your frame. Once you put water and rock and medium in it, everything will sort of level out. So don't be freaked out if when you get it all framed out and squared up and then you set it on the ground and it's empty and one of the legs is not touching the ground. That'll all balance out. I had the same problem. The second most challenging part was balancing the inflow from the pump with the outflow of the bell siphon. Because I'm using such a, I guess, a high-powered pump, it's restricted a good amount right now. It's probably cut down to 1/3 of its max output. But because I'm using such a high output pump, I had to put a ball valve in here to restrict the inflow because my outflow is only a 1/2 inch. So the tank would fill up and stay full at max inflow and it wouldn't drain fast enough. So that's something that I've been playing with for about a week off and on. It's been a challenge, but it's also been fun at the same time. My outflow is simply a bulkhead fitting with a 1/2 inch OD, or ID I should say, to a 1/2 inch T, another 1/2 inch, 12 inch 1/2 inch nipple that I cut in half, and then you can't see it right now and I'm not going to hang my camera over the water, but underneath, on the underside of the pipe, there are holes drilled, 6 per side, and once the water starts draining out, it pours into the tank and aerates the water, and it cycles about, I'd say 4 to 5 times an hour, maybe even 6. I haven't really clocked it this morning since I put the rock in, but it does it several times an hour, which is great because you want to turn your tank at least 3 times an hour so that any ammonia that you have is being moved through your filter medium into your lava rock, where your bacteria growth is going to break it down into nitrates, or nitrogen, fish or plant food. Like I said, this is my first one. This is the first video I've made of it. It looks kind of rough right now, but like I said, I promised my wife that I would frame it out, that I would trim it with something nice and stain it so it looked nice. I transplanted the eggplant yesterday, as well as the okra. They seem to be doing fine still. I just transplanted this strawberry this morning, and this melon this morning as well. There are several fish in there right now. There's probably 13 or 14 fish, some small goldfish, and then some other ones, some edible kind. I'm not going to tell you which though. Let's see. Everything seems to be working good. The bell siphon is essentially a 2-inch piece of ABS with a cap on it. I have a 1-inch piece of PVC reduced down to a 1/2 inch. The 1-inch PVC is approximately 9 inches. The bell siphon is approximately 9 inches as well. You want to have the overall length of your PVC bell, or your ABS bell, whatever you make it out of, about the same as the length of your inner nipple, the nipple that the water actually is going to flow out through. The reason being is you're going to have about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch difference from the top of your 3/4 inch pipe to the actual crown of your cap, because it's a dome essentially. That will allow your siphon to build up enough suction so it works properly. I filled it up to about 9 or 10 inches or so of rock. That way the water line stays just below the top surface of the rock, because you don't actually want the stem of the plants to be submerged in water, because that's going to cause them to rot. That's why you don't water a regular soil garden every single day unless it's like 180,000 degrees. You want the root zone to be wet, but you want it to be continuously cycling with fresh water. As you can see, it's draining now and it's good. Plenty of aeration. The fish seem to be happy. The only fish that I've lost were in the first 2 or 3 days, which, you buy goldfish and you put them in your tank at home, and you buy 30 of them because you know you're going to lose 15 in the first day. It's just the way it is. But other than that, they seem to be happy. I even caught a frog at work and threw it in here, but I don't know what happened to him. That's pretty much it. It's been fun. It's been simple. Hopefully it's everything everybody claims it to be. And I've already have plans for, if this does pan out, that this fall when I rip the soil garden out, I will build an even bigger aquaponics system over there. But I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. Thanks.
Hi folks, this is Victoria Dulcie with Fish to Food, and I want to show you how you can grow organic vegetables and fish in your own backyard using aquaponics. This large blue tank you are seeing is my aquaculture tank, and in the background outside the screen room is my grow bed. You can see my lettuces and herbs are growing nicely in little net pots that allow the roots to grow through and be fed by the nutrient-dense fish water. I try to keep some smaller seedlings at the back and rotate as I eat my fresh vegetables so that I always have something growing and going. I have some nice basils and other herbs growing here. The fish tank has a floating raft bed on top, which makes a perfect cover for the aquaculture tank and acts as additional grow area. The plants thrive in the nutrient-dense fish water as the fish waste is converted from nitrites to nitrates that forms on the underside of the foam board and inside of the grow bed. This is where I feed my little fish that supply the nutrients from my vegetables. I live in Orlando, Florida on a 1/4 acre lot. That's really small. And I also have a large pool and screen room that takes up a lot of my backyard. So I only have about 7 feet of clearance between the screen room and the fence, and I currently have an aquaponics system that gives me about 28 square feet of growing area to grow organic vegetables, and then my fish is in my aquaculture tank. Outside of the screen room is my grow bed. Okay, so we're headed outside to the grow bed, outside of the screen room. Because of our limited space, we plumbed our fish water to pump into the grow bed outside the screen room using the CHOP Mark II system with a few modifications. I know that probably doesn't mean much to you, but it's one of the more complicated plumbing configurations. There are several different plumbing configurations, and we had to use this one because of the way that we are running our grow bed outside the screen room and the fish tank inside the screen room. The simplest and the one that we recommend is the flood and drain system. That's the simplest plumbing system. Fortunately, my husband is a genius and a master plumber, so this was not a problem for him. We are so thrilled with our system that we're going to add another grow bed or 2 later this summer, and we'll have even more grow area. The system is very easy to use. I just go out and feed the fish in the morning and feed the fish at night, and we check the chemistry about once a week. Okay, so inside of our grow bed we have it filled with clay balls, which is our grow media, and we've placed our plants inside of the grow media, and they're actually just growing in water and the grow media. We have a bell siphon in the grow bed, and the bell siphon causes the water to fall, to break the fall, and to drain into the sump tank, which is below, so that the water is constantly rising and falling in the bed with the grow media. The great thing about aquaponics is you don't need a lot of space, because the yield is much higher than with crops grown in soil. I preserve my extra food by freezing and canning, making pickles and relish, and just walk out my back door and pick fresh salad greens for dinner. Fresh food has the most bioavailable nutrients and enzymes. We have 4 systems available, one of which is sure to suit your needs. Please visit my website for more information. We are also trained in commercial aquaponics applications. These are our Florida Prince peach trees. We have tried to incorporate as much edible landscaping into our tiny little 1/4 acre lot as possible. We have 12 fruit trees, including 2 apple trees, an Anna and a Dorset, that were developed by the University of Florida to have low chill hours. Our Genesis 210 aquaponics system has a 210-gallon aquaculture tank and 1 grow bed. Our Harmony 300 aquaponics system has a 300-gallon aquaculture tank and 2 grow beds. Our Venture 410 aquaponics system has a 410-gallon aquaculture tank and 2 grow beds. Our Odyssey 450 aquaponics system has a 450-gallon aquaculture tank with 3 grow beds. All of our systems have the option of adding additional grow beds that can be purchased at the time of installation or later on. We can ship systems. We do installations locally within 75 miles of Orlando. Please visit our website at www.fishtofood.com for information about system pricing, what comes with the system, and if you have any other questions that we can help you with.